The space station floated in a quiet corner of the galaxy. Its silver walls shone faintly against the endless black of space. Most of its rooms were empty, filled only with the low hum of machines and the soft glow of old lights. Few visitors came anymore. Long ago, this place had been busy with trade ships, scholars, and travelers. Now it was nearly forgotten, yet the station remained alive, as if waiting for something. Among the silent halls lived a man named Milo. He was not a captain or an explorer. He was a janitor. Every day, Milo walked the endless corridors with his cart of tools and cleaning cloths. He swept the dust, replaced broken lights, and checked the systems that still worked. No one gave him orders, but he kept at his work. He believed even empty places deserved care. Milo lived a simple life. His small room had only a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out into space. At night, he sat by the window and watched the stars. Sometimes he wondered if anyone out there even remembered this old station. Still, he stayed. He told himself that someone had to keep the place alive. One day, while exploring the lower decks, Milo noticed something unusual. Behind a thick layer of dust and rusted pipes stood a massive door. It was larger than any he had seen before, almost reaching the ceiling. Strange symbols were carved into its surface, glowing faintly with colors that shifted like starlight. Chains of metal, unlike any he knew, wrapped tightly around it. They looked ancient, yet strong, as if they had been forged to last forever. Milo knelt and brushed the dust away. The symbols grew brighter for a moment, then faded. He touched the chains and felt a cold energy run through his hand. This was no ordinary door. It seemed alive, almost watching him. He stepped back, his heart beating faster, but not out of fear. It was curiosity. He wondered what could be hidden behind such a door, locked away for so long. For the rest of the day, Milo could not stop thinking about it. He tried to focus on his usual tasks, but his mind kept drifting back to the chained door. At night, he lay awake on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Who had locked it? What did the symbols mean? And why did the station still keep power flowing to a place no one visited? The next morning, Milo returned. He brought a lamp to shine light on the strange carvings. As he studied them, he noticed small cracks in the wall beside the door. Following them, he found a narrow maintenance shaft leading around to the other side. It was dark, filled with cobweb-like wires, but Milo was used to crawling through tight spaces. With his lamp held ahead, he squeezed inside. The shaft stretched far, twisting like a maze. At last, he reached an opening and looked out. His breath caught in wonder. Before him lay a chamber larger than any hall in the station. Its walls were lined with old machines and glowing crystals. And in the center rested a massive shape. It was a beast unlike anything Milo had seen. Its body was long and powerful, covered in scales that shimmered with dull silver light. Great wings folded against its sides, and a tail coiled across the floor. Chains of the same strange metal bound its legs, neck, and chest. The creature looked like a dragon from old human tales, yet more alien, with patterns glowing faintly across its scales. Dust and webs covered much of its body, making it seem part of the chamber itself. Milo stared in silence. The beast did not move. Its chest rose and fell very slowly, showing it was alive, though deep in slumber. The chains glowed faintly, pulsing with energy, as if they still held power after countless years. Instead of fear, Milo felt wonder. Who had placed such a creature here? Why had it been forgotten? He stepped closer, brushing his hand against one of the scales. To his surprise, the surface was warm beneath the dust, like metal touched by sunlight. The station's hum grew louder around him, as though the very walls responded to his presence. Milo stayed for a long time, simply looking. The beast was both beautiful and sad, trapped in a prison of silence. He could not explain why, but he felt a pull toward it. Perhaps it was the same reason he cared for empty halls and broken lights. Everything, no matter how forgotten, deserved respect. When he finally returned to his small room, his thoughts were filled with the chained beast. He wondered if anyone else had ever seen it, or if it had waited 1,000 years for someone to notice. Milo looked out his window at the stars and whispered to himself. He promised that he would return. The creature might be locked away, but it would not be forgotten any longer. That night, as Milo drifted to sleep, the station gave a faint tremor, so light that only a trained ear might notice. Deep in the hidden chamber, the alien dragon stirred for the first time in centuries, its eyes flickering beneath heavy lids. It did not wake, but somewhere in its endless dream, it felt the touch of human hands brushing away the dust of ages. Milo woke early the next morning with the strange memory of the chained beast still fresh in his mind. He had dreamed of silver scales and glowing chains. Even after washing his face and eating a small breakfast, the image stayed with him. The space station around him was the same as always, quiet and empty, yet he felt as if something had changed. The air carried a faint hum, as if the whole station was alive in a new way. He pushed his cleaning cart through the upper halls, replacing lights and sweeping dust, but his mind was far away. The chained door, the narrow shaft, and the hidden chamber called to him again and again. Milo finally gave up pretending to work. He packed a lamp, brushes, cloths, and a small bottle of water into his bag. Then he made his way back down to the lower decks. When he reached the sealed door, he stood in silence for a while. The glowing symbols seemed brighter now than before. The chains looked the same, yet somehow they felt less lifeless. Milo touched one gently with his finger. A soft current of energy passed into his hand, not painful but sharp, like touching static. He stepped back, his curiosity burning even stronger. He returned to the maintenance shaft and crawled inside. The tunnel was just as dark as yesterday, but today Milo moved with more purpose. His lamplight flickered against old wires and metal, guiding him toward the chamber. When he reached the opening and looked out, the sight of the alien dragon beast waiting there filled him with quiet awe all over again. The beast lay motionless, but now Milo noticed details he had missed before. The chains that bound its body were not smooth like ordinary metal. They were etched with tiny symbols similar to the ones on the door. Each symbol glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm like a heartbeat. The scales of the dragon seemed to shimmer faintly as well, as if light was trapped beneath them. Milo wondered if the creature was slowly waking or if it had always been like this. Stepping carefully onto the chamber floor, Milo placed his lamp nearby. He pulled a brush and cloth from his bag and approached the beast. Dust covered its wings like a gray blanket, and cobweb-like threads hung across its claws. He reached out and brushed one claw gently. The dust came away, revealing a surface that glimmered like polished silver. Beneath his hand the scale felt warm, and Milo felt a strange sense of calm, as if the creature accepted his touch. Encouraged, Milo continued cleaning. He wiped the wings, brushed away the webs, and polished one leg. He worked slowly and carefully, almost like an artist restoring a forgotten statue. The chamber's glow seemed to brighten with each stroke of his cloth. Milo hummed softly as he worked, filling the silence with simple tunes he had carried since childhood. He felt less alone in this place now. As he moved closer to the creature's face, Milo paused. The head was large and regal, with horns that curved like crescent moons. Dust covered its eyes, hiding them behind a dull veil. Milo hesitated, then gently wiped them clean. For a moment, he thought he saw a flicker beneath the eyelids, a faint glow deep within. His breath caught. He leaned back quickly, waiting. But the eyes remained closed, and the beast did not move again. Still, Milo felt certain it had sensed him. He spoke softly, unsure if his words could be heard. He told the creature about his life as a janitor, how he cared for the halls no one visited, how he fixed broken lights so that the station would not be dark. He admitted that sometimes he felt invisible, forgotten like the beast itself. His voice echoed in the chamber, gentle but strong. He did not expect an answer, but speaking made him feel less small. After a long while, Milo stepped back and studied the beast again. Its body still lay bound by chains, but in his eyes it no longer looked like a prisoner. It looked more like a sleeping guardian, waiting for someone to remember it. The thought filled Milo with quiet respect. He did not know its name or its history, but he knew it deserved care. He gathered his tools and packed them away. Before leaving, he placed his hand once more on the creature's chest. The scales were warm, and beneath them he thought he felt a slow, steady beat. It might have been his imagination, yet it gave him hope. He whispered a promise before he climbed back into the shaft. He promised to return, not just once, but again and again, until the beast was no longer hidden under dust and silence. Back in his room, Milo sat at his desk and drew simple sketches of what he had seen. His hand was clumsy, but he wanted to remember every detail. The wings, the horns, the chains, and the glow of the chamber all filled the page. As he worked, the station gave another faint tremor. The sound was so soft that most would not notice, but Milo did. He smiled to himself. Something deep within the station was waking, and he felt sure it was connected to the beast. That night, when Milo lay down to sleep, he did not feel the usual weight of loneliness. He felt as if he had made a silent friend, one who had been waiting for him for 1,000 years. The next morning, Milo carried more supplies down to the hidden chamber. His bag was heavy with cloths, brushes, polish, and a small bucket of warm water. He even brought a little lantern to hang from a pipe, so the chamber would not feel so dark. He had cleaned many things in his life, from broken machines to long-forgotten corridors, but today felt different. Today he was cleaning something alive, something ancient, something that deserved more than simple dusting. When Milo reached the opening in the shaft, he paused to look at the creature again. The alien dragon lay in the center of the room just as before, chains glowing faintly around its body. But Milo thought he saw a slight change. The silver scales seemed to shine more brightly, as if light had begun to stir within them. He wondered if the beast had noticed his presence yesterday. He wondered if it had been waiting for him to return. He stepped quietly into the chamber, set down his bag, and lit the lantern. The warm glow filled the space, mixing with the cool light of the chains. Milo picked up a soft cloth, dipped it into the water, and began to wipe the dust from one of the creature's wings. The water darkened with gray as layer after layer came away. Beneath the dust, the scales shone with a brilliance he had never seen before, like liquid silver with tiny sparks of blue. As Milo worked, he spoke softly. He talked about simple things, about the way the station used to hum louder when it was full of people, about the small garden where he grew herbs in a corner near his room, about the stars he liked to watch through the windows at night. His voice filled the quiet chamber, steady and calm. He did not know if the beast could hear him, but speaking helped him feel connected, as if he was not alone. He moved to the claws, polishing each one with slow care. The chains around the creature's legs glowed more strongly whenever he touched them, then faded back to their dim pulse. The air grew warmer too, not uncomfortably, but enough to make him wipe sweat from his brow. Milo felt certain now that the dragon was aware of him, even if it still slept. At one point, as he brushed the dust from the chest, his hand paused. Beneath his palm, he felt a faint vibration. It was steady, like the beat of a heart. He leaned closer, pressing his ear to the scale. There it was again, slow but alive. The creature's heart had not given up, even after so many years in chains. A smile spread across Milo's face. He whispered encouragement, telling the beast that it was not alone anymore. Time passed, though Milo did not notice how long. He was lost in the rhythm of cleaning. Each stroke of the cloth seemed to bring more life to the chamber. The walls glimmered with reflected light, and the crystals set in the ceiling brightened. The chains made a low hum, as if responding to the care Milo gave. It was as though the entire room was waking, piece by piece. When he finally reached the creature's head, he moved with extra care. The horns curved proudly, but they were covered with grime. He polished them until they gleamed like polished stone. Then he turned his attention to the closed eyes. With a gentle hand, he brushed away the last of the dust that covered them. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, as Milo leaned back, he saw it. One eyelid twitched. A faint glow shimmered beneath it, like starlight trapped behind glass. Milo froze, his breath caught. He whispered softly, telling the creature that it was safe. The glow faded, and the eyes closed again. But Milo knew now without doubt that it was waking. The thought filled him with wonder, but also responsibility. His small actions had stirred something ancient, something forgotten by the galaxy. He promised silently that he would not abandon it. After finishing his work, Milo sat on the floor of the chamber, tired but content. His hands were dirty, his shirt damp with sweat, but his heart felt light. He looked up at the massive form of the beast, now shining more brightly than before, and he felt a strange sense of pride. He was only a janitor, yet he had given life back to something far greater than himself. Before leaving, Milo cleaned his tools and packed them neatly into his bag. He stood once more before the creature and placed his hand gently against its chest. The heartbeat he felt earlier was stronger now, steady and sure. He whispered again, promising that he would return tomorrow. Then he climbed back into the shaft, his lantern light guiding him through the darkness. As Milo walked back through the empty halls of the station, he noticed small changes. The lights seemed brighter, the hum of the engine steadier. It was as if the entire station shared the heartbeat of the chained beast. Milo smiled to himself. For the first time in years, he felt that he was not simply maintaining a forgotten place. He was part of something larger, something waiting to awaken. That night, as he lay in bed and watched the stars, Milo could not sleep right away. His mind replayed the flicker of light beneath the beast's eyelids, the warmth of its scales, and the steady rhythm of its heart. He felt a quiet joy, as if he had made a friend who had been sleeping for 1,000 years. He closed his eyes at last, dreaming not of loneliness but of silver wings unfolding in the starlight. Milo returned to the hidden chamber the next day with steady steps and a heart full of hope. He carried fresh cloths, a small bucket of warm water, and a bit of oil he had found in the supply room. He wanted the silver scales of the alien dragon to shine brighter than ever. The station's hum followed him as he walked, louder than before, as if guiding him toward the lower decks. He no longer felt like a lonely janitor. He felt like a caretaker for something that mattered. When he entered the chamber, he noticed the air was different. It felt warmer, filled with a gentle energy that raised the hairs on his arms. The crystals in the walls glowed with a stronger light, casting soft colors across the beast's chained body. Milo placed his lantern down, but it was almost unnecessary. The room seemed to shine on its own. He began to work as usual, polishing one wing and brushing dust from the tail. Yet every now and then, he paused to look at the beast's face. Its eyelids twitched more often now, and that faint glow beneath them appeared stronger than yesterday. Milo's heart raced each time. He spoke softly as he cleaned, telling the creature about the old station gardens he used to tend, about the travelers he once saw, and about how empty the halls had become. His voice was gentle, carrying the rhythm of daily life. As Milo polished the great chest, the heartbeat beneath the scales pulsed with new strength. The sound was steady, like a slow drum echoing in the chamber. He placed his ear against it, smiling at the warmth that spread through his cheek. The chains glowed brighter in response, the symbols upon them shining like tiny stars. It was as if they sensed the beast's strength returning. Suddenly, Milo felt something new. A voice, soft and deep, brushed against his thoughts. It was not sound in the air but a presence inside his mind. He froze, his cloth falling from his hand. The voice spoke slowly, as if waking from a long dream. "Who tends to me?" Milo's eyes widened. His mouth felt dry, but he answered in a whisper. "I am Milo. I clean this station. I found you here." There was silence for a moment, though the presence remained. Then the voice returned, calm and curious. "A human. Small, fragile, and yet you came. Why do you care for one who was forgotten?" Milo swallowed, his heart racing. He looked up at the vast silver form before him. "Because everything deserves care. Even forgotten things. Even you." The chamber filled with a low hum, not from the machines but from the beast itself. Milo realized it was laughter, soft and tired. "For 1,000 years I have been bound. My name is Kaler. I was once a guardian of the stars. Betrayed, I was chained here, left to sleep while the galaxy moved on. And yet it is a janitor who wakes me." Milo listened in wonder. The name Kaler echoed in his thoughts, strong and noble. "I do not have power," Milo admitted, "but I can do this. I can clean the dust. I can keep you company. You are not forgotten anymore." Kaler's voice grew warmer, though still faint. "Your hands bring back what time tried to erase. You are unlike those who chained me. They saw humans as weak, unworthy of notice. But you have shown more strength than they ever did, for you have given kindness without reason." Milo's cheeks grew hot. He shook his head modestly. "I only do what I know. I clean. I take care of things." The dragon's eyes fluttered, then opened slightly for the first time. Light poured from them, clear and bright, like twin stars. Milo stepped back, shielding his face with his arm, but he could not stop staring in awe. The gaze of Kaler fell on him, not harsh but gentle, filled with both age and gratitude. "Milo," Kaler said, his voice steady in the janitor's thoughts, "because of you, I begin to wake. These chains still hold me, but they grow weaker with each touch of your hands. You have given me more than freedom. You have given me remembrance." The words filled Milo with pride, though he remained humble. He bowed his head slightly, unsure what to say. Then I will keep helping, he replied. I will keep coming until you are free. Kaler's eyes slowly closed again, the light fading but not gone. Then I will wait for you, my friend. The chamber fell quiet, but the silence felt different now. It was no longer the silence of emptiness but of shared trust. Milo sat on the floor for a while, letting the moment settle. His heart was full, his loneliness gone. He realized he was not just cleaning a beast. He was building a bond. When he finally left the chamber, he walked through the station's halls with new energy. The lights above him glowed brighter, and the engines hummed with a living rhythm. Milo felt as if the entire station celebrated the awakening. He looked out a window at the stars before returning to his room, whispering the name Kaler with respect. That night, as he lay in bed, Milo felt the echo of the dragon's voice in his mind, calm and reassuring. For the first time in many years, he did not feel small. He felt part of something greater, something that stretched beyond the walls of the station into the endless stars. Each day after his chores, Milo carried his tools down to the hidden chamber. The space station no longer felt empty to him. Every hallway he walked seemed to carry the faint heartbeat of Kaler, the alien dragon bound in chains. Lights that once flickered weakly now shone brighter. The air felt warmer. It was as if the entire station shared Kaler's slow return to life. Milo entered the chamber with a respectful bow of his head, as though stepping into a place of importance. Kaler's silver scales reflected the glow of the crystals on the walls, and his eyes, though often closed, now opened for short moments each day. When they did, Milo felt as if he were standing before a sky full of stars. As Milo worked, polishing the wings and brushing dust from the tail, Kaler spoke to him in that deep voice within his mind. Their conversations began simply. Kaler asked about the human world. Milo told him about Earth, about rivers that shone under the sun, about forests filled with green leaves, and about cities where people hurried through crowded streets. He described how children played games in open fields, how farmers planted seeds in spring, and how families gathered at night for food and laughter. Kaler listened in silence, then said, "Long ago, I watched over many worlds, but I never saw Earth. Your kind was still young, hidden among the stars. I did not know humans could endure for so long." Milo chuckled softly as he wiped a scale. Humans are stubborn. We keep going, even when things are hard. We do not always have power, but we keep trying. The dragon's great chest rose and fell with a deep breath. Other races once judged humanity as weak, too fragile to stand among them. Yet you, a single man with no weapons and no crown, are the one who found me. You have done what no warrior or scholar chose to do. You cared. Milo blushed at the words, though no one could see it in the dim chamber. I only did what felt right. Dust was covering you. Chains were holding you. It did not seem fair to leave you like that. For a long moment Kaler said nothing. Then his voice returned, softer this time. Fairness is a rare thing in the galaxy. But your kindness has become my strength. With every touch of your hands, the chains weaken. With every word you speak, I remember what it means to guard instead of sleep. Milo sat down to rest, leaning against his cart of supplies. He looked up at the dragon's vast form and smiled. I never thought a janitor could make a difference to someone like you. I thought my life would pass quietly in these empty halls. Kaler's eyes opened briefly, glowing like twin stars. Greatness is not in titles or crowns. It is in the heart that chooses to give when no one is watching. You have shown me that even the smallest life carries power. Those words stayed with Milo as he continued his work in the days that followed. He felt less like a janitor and more like a companion. Each time he polished the scales or cleaned the horns, Kaler shared memories of long ago. He spoke of flying between suns, his wings shining brighter than light itself. He told of guiding travelers across dangerous paths and calming storms that could tear ships apart. He described councils of mighty races who once trusted his judgment. But he also spoke of betrayal, how jealousy and fear led them to bind him with chains that glowed with ancient symbols. His voice carried no anger, only sadness. Milo listened carefully, not interrupting. When Kaler finished, Milo simply said, "You are not alone anymore. Whatever happened before, you are here now, and I am here with you." The dragon's eyes softened. "Then perhaps my purpose is not lost. Perhaps it only waited for you." The bond between them grew with each passing day. Milo no longer felt the weight of loneliness pressing on him. When he walked through the station, he carried Kaler's voice in his thoughts. When he worked in the chamber, he felt the heartbeat beneath his hands. Even when he slept, he dreamed of silver wings unfolding in the starlight. One evening, after finishing his tasks, Milo sat quietly in the chamber, watching the gentle glow of the chains. "Do you think you will be free soon?" he asked. Kaler's answer came slowly, like the deep rumble of distant thunder. "Yes. Each day your care breaks away the dust of ages. The chains weaken not only by touch but by the bond we share. Soon they will fall, and I will rise once more. But know this, Milo. My freedom is not only mine. It belongs to you as well. For without you, I would still be forgotten." Milo lowered his head, humbled by the words. "I am glad I found you," he whispered. "And I am glad you stayed," Kaler replied. That night, as Milo returned to his small room, the station trembled gently again, stronger than before. Lights danced across the walls as though celebrating. Milo sat by his window, watching the stars with a smile. He no longer saw them as distant lights. He saw them as places he might visit one day, perhaps not alone but with a friend whose wings could carry him across the galaxy. The next day, Milo entered the hidden chamber with a sense of excitement he had never felt before. He carried all his tools, his small lantern, and a little bottle of oil. The chains that bound Kaler glowed brighter than ever. The light reflected across the silver scales, making the dragon appear almost as if it were made of living stars. Milo's heart raced as he stepped closer, knowing that today might be the day the chains would finally fall. He began his work as usual, carefully brushing away the dust that had settled over centuries. Every stroke seemed to make the chains pulse with less energy. The carvings on the metal glimmered faintly, their power weakening with each gentle touch. Milo whispered words of encouragement, telling Kaler that freedom was close, that he had done well and had not been forgotten. Kaler's voice filled Milo's mind, stronger than before. "Milo, I can feel it. The chains grow weaker. Your hands and your heart are stronger than their magic. Soon I will rise again." Milo nodded, his hands never stopping their work. "Then I will help you until that moment comes," he said. "I will not leave you until you are free." Hours passed as Milo polished, brushed, and wiped every part of Kaler's massive body. The dragon's wings shone like silver sails, his horns glimmered like polished crystal, and the scales along his back now reflected the lantern's light in a dazzling display. The chains, once glowing with harsh energy, now shimmered weakly, almost as if they were bowing to Milo's care. Then, as Milo cleaned the last of the dust from Kaler's chest, something extraordinary happened. The chains around the beast's legs and neck began to break. One by one, the links cracked, falling to the floor with soft clinks. Milo stepped back, shielding his eyes from the sudden bright glow. Light seemed to pour from Kaler's body, filling the chamber with warmth and energy. Kaler stirred, lifting his head slowly. His eyes opened wide, shining like twin stars. He looked at Milo with deep gratitude and pride. "Milo, you have done it," he said, his voice both gentle and powerful. "You have freed me. Not by force, not by power, but by care. You have shown me the true strength of humanity." Milo stepped closer cautiously, unsure if the dragon would move suddenly. But Kaler lowered his head, careful not to frighten him. "Do not be afraid," Kaler said. "I will not harm you. Your hands brought me back to life. Your heart gave me hope. For that, I owe you more than words can describe." Milo touched Kaler's massive snout gently. The scales were warm and smooth, and the glow beneath them pulsed like a steady heartbeat. "I did not expect to wake you," Milo said quietly. "I only wanted to clean you, to make sure you were not forgotten." Kaler lifted his wings slowly, stretching them within the chamber. The silver feathers reflected the light, and the crystals in the walls seemed to shine even brighter. "You have done more than that," Kaler replied. "You have reminded me what it means to be alive. I have waited 1,000 years for this day, yet it was a human who brought it." Milo smiled, his own heart swelling with joy. "Then we are both lucky," he said. "I found you, and you are free." The chains lay broken on the floor, powerless. The chamber hummed with new energy, the kind that comes only from life awakened. Milo could feel it in the walls, in the floors, and in the air itself. Kaler's presence filled the station, and even the smallest light seemed to shine brighter in response. Kaler lowered his massive head once more and looked at Milo. "You have proven that even the smallest act of care can awaken greatness," he said. "Other races judged humans as weak, but you have shown that strength is not only in power. It is in the heart that chooses to act when no one else does." Milo nodded humbly. "I only did what felt right," he replied. "I did not think about strength or greatness. I just knew you were not alone anymore." Kaler's voice softened. "That is the most important thing. In all my years, I have never met one so small and yet so brave. You have earned my trust, and more than that, my friendship." For the first time in 1,000 years, Kaler rose to his full height. The chamber trembled gently beneath the weight of his body. Milo stepped back, awe filling his chest. The dragon stretched his wings and lifted them halfway, testing the air. Then he lowered them again, careful not to break anything in the chamber. Milo looked at the broken chains, the shining scales, and the gentle glow around Kaler. He realized that the dragon's freedom was more than a simple release. It was a reminder of what humanity could do. A single human, acting with care and patience, had restored life to a guardian of the galaxy. That night, Milo returned to his small room, exhausted but happy. He looked out at the stars with new hope. Somewhere out there, Kaler waited, free at last. And Milo knew that this was only the beginning of a journey they would share together. The chamber felt alive in a way Milo had never experienced before. Kaler, the alien dragon, stretched his massive wings and shook his great tail gently. The silver scales reflected the soft glow of the crystals in the walls. The chains that had bound him for 1,000 years lay broken and useless on the floor. Milo stood in the center, amazed at how much had changed since he first discovered the hidden chamber. Kaler turned his head and looked at Milo. "You have done more than awaken me," he said. "You have shown the galaxy the power of care, patience, and friendship. For that, I am grateful. Milo smiled shyly. I only did what I could. I did not think I would make a difference to someone like you. You did more than think, Kayla replied. You acted. You proved that even a small life can bring hope to the forgotten. Your hands and your heart have given me freedom, and the galaxy has learned something it did not know before. Milo stepped closer, looking into Kayla's shining eyes. Then what will you do now? Kayla lowered his head in thought. I will leave this station, but I will not leave it empty. I will show others that humans are not weak. Your kind can care when others would ignore. Your kind can act when others would fear. And because of you, I will carry that lesson across the stars. Milo's chest swelled with pride. He had never imagined that a human could make such a difference. He realized that his quiet life as a janitor had been the start of something much greater. For years he had believed that cleaning halls and fixing lights was all he could do, yet it had led to the awakening of a being that had once protected worlds. The chamber trembled gently as Kayla lifted his wings fully and rose to his feet. Milo could feel the power and presence of the dragon, yet there was no fear in him. He trusted Kayla completely. Will you take me with you? Milo asked softly. Kayla's eyes sparkled. Yes, if you wish. Together we can travel where humans have never gone, and perhaps remind the galaxy that strength is not only measured by power, but by kindness. Milo nodded, excitement filling him. He had dreamed of the stars for years, but now he would see them in a way few humans could imagine. He climbed onto Kayla's back carefully, holding onto the smooth scales. The dragon's wings stretched higher, and the chamber filled with light as Kayla lifted off. They moved slowly through the station, careful not to harm any structure. The hallways Milo had walked for years now looked different. They seemed alive, shining with the energy of freedom. Workers who had once come long ago might have never imagined such a moment, yet Milo knew it would leave a lasting mark. When Kayla reached the main docking bay, the vast doors opened automatically, revealing the endless black of space dotted with distant stars. Milo held his breath. This was the first time he would leave the station on the back of a creature so magnificent. Kayla tilted his wings and leapt into the void, soaring smoothly between stars. The sensation was incredible, a mixture of speed and weightlessness, the hum of the galaxy surrounding them. As they traveled, Milo looked down at the station below. It seemed smaller now, but brighter than before, as if the energy of life they had shared had spread through its walls. He realized that the janitor who had once felt invisible had become part of something much larger. The galaxy would remember this, even if only in small ways, because care and kindness had awakened a legend. Kayla spoke in Milo's mind again. Humans are often overlooked, but I have seen what one human can do. I will tell the stars your story. I will remind every planet that even small lives can bring great change. You have proven it? Milo smiled, feeling the truth of the dragon's words in every beat of his heart. He knew their journey would be long and full of wonder, yet he was ready. He looked at Kayla's shining eyes, the powerful wings, and the flowing silver scales, and he whispered softly, "Let's show the galaxy what humans can do." The dragon roared once, a sound that filled the vacuum of space yet carried in Milo's mind like a song. Together, they flew toward distant stars, a human and a dragon, bound by friendship and courage. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of mysteries, full of worlds that had forgotten kindness, and full of hearts ready to be inspired. Milo understood that his small life as a janitor had changed everything. He had cleaned halls, brushed dust, and cared for the forgotten, but in doing so, he had reminded the universe that humanity had a place among the stars. Not by power, not by conquest, but by heart. And as they disappeared into the black sky filled with shining lights, the story of Milo and Kaler began to spread silently across the galaxy, a story of hope, friendship, and the quiet strength of a human heart.